Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, CL Brown from the News and Observer. He covers the Tar Heels. It's a busy, busy time for you right now, CL. Now that basketball's officially tipped off last night at the Smith Center.
Yeah, it's a good busy though. It's a lot better when you're covering good teams. Trust me on that.
Yes. Although I feel like Hubert Davis and the way he wants the Tar Heels to play defense, I don't know, maybe Leaky Black can help with the football defensive woes that are going on right now for the Tar Heels. Because I'm telling you, man, that defense is going to sneak up and bite them.
I mean, you would have thought it would have got them before now, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I actually think that the defense has improved since the beginning of the year. And, they took a tough blow losing Des Evans and Noah Taylor and Raven Hossack on the D line. But I actually think quietly they've gotten better.
All right. CL Brown, News and Observer, covers the Tar Heels, joining us here on the OG. I would maintain they haven't exactly faced an offense yet outside of what Notre Dame wanted to do up front that could make them pay. Wake Forest might be that team. I mean, that's going to be whatever the over-under is on that game. I would take the over in this case. But I don't know. Like when Brennan Armstrong's having a get-right game against you, I start to have some concerns.
Well, they've had a lot of those games, Joe. But I mean, at some point it turns. Like it
Yeah.
seems like every game kind of follows the same formula for them defensively. In the first half, they give up a lot of yards, give up points, and then the second half they make adjustments. They get a lot better, a lot tougher to move the ball on. A lot of times might even come up with a turnover. They've had a turnover. They've had a takeaway every game except the Georgia State game, which I didn't really think about till I saw it on paper. It's like, wow, that is true. And
well, I think
they've made plays when they had to, or else they'd have a lot more losses than now. But they've also given up a ton of yards.
And the offense also continues to come through when needed as well. CL Brown joining us, and that gets us to the Drake May for Heisman discussion. I don't dismiss it. A lot of people want to dismiss it because, Carolina wasn't considered a team to be in the mix. They might look at their schedule, but if you watch how they've won a lot of these games, it typically is because this guy and that offense continue to step up. He keeps making plays.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to look at the stats and respect him. And if you watch him play, he'll come up with the big plays when needed. I don't care who the schedule's against. You still got to go out there and do it. I think Drake May absolutely belongs in that conversation. Is that kind of being discussed in the building right now?
Not to a great extent. We asked Mac about that yesterday at his press conference, and I asked him if he felt like Drake deserved to at least be among the finalists to get to New York. And his typical coach answer, he was like, "You got to let the rest of the season play out," which you do. But I'm saying at the same trajectory, if he has kind of the same last 3 games as he's had these first 9 games. 4 including the ACC championship game. I think he deserves to be there. He's leading the nation in total offense right now. And really, low key, he's their defensive MVP because I think part of the reason why the defense has gotten better in the second half is because the offense puts so much pressure on these teams and they can change the way an opponent has to play the game. Obviously somebody like Pittsburgh wants to keep running the ball. They get down 2 scores and you're getting later in the game, you can't keep just running the ball. You have to start passing. You have to get one-dimensional, and then the defense comes up and makes some plays. So all of that is because Drake May. They are 8-1 because of Drake May. And a lot of players can't necessarily say that are in this Heisman race.
No, I'm with you. I'm complete agreement with you on that. And I kind of roll my eyes at people who want to bring up all sorts of other weird goalpost moving conversations about Drake May. But to your point, if he might be their best defensive player because, yes, and we could see this against Wake Forest because we saw this with Sam Hartman. Once they got down a couple scores, NC State's defense was able to feast on this, and there were 3 turnovers in that game. Louisville, same boat, where they had just a horrendous third-quarter disaster that they want to put behind them. I could see Sam Hartman being put in that position too where he's going to have to make a play to keep up, and maybe the opportunistic defense comes through for the Tar Heels. Switching things over to hoops last night. Look, man, it's game 1. I mean, I had a Hey Joe question from a guy who was like, should I be concerned that UNCW out-rebounded Carolina last night? Like, there's nothing to be concerned in game one last night, guys. Like, let's not do this. But it does, if we wanted to have a serious conversation about this CL, Hubert Davis's biggest challenge is going to be transitioning a team to, hey, man, we're going to shock everybody. You know, we're going to go into Cameron Indoor Stadium where nobody expects us to win. Well, now they are expected to win. They are expected to get to a Final Four. And that's going to be a process, and we saw the start of that process last night. That's how you have to look at it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the good thing for Carolina fans is I didn't see any panic when they weren't, when UNC-Wilmington was like, we're not going away, and they couldn't really extend a 16-point lead and get it to 20. It went back down to 10. But it never really got close to where Carolina was tightening up or anything like that. Like, they kept them at a comfortable arm's length. They just, it wasn't a blowout, obviously. But I also think it's good for Hubert because he has some tangible things. He can say, hey, we got to do this better. This isn't going to be a cakewalk, and he'll have their attention because every player in the post game, it was basically like, well, we didn't play well. We need to do this. We need to do that. So I think it was a good first game. If you're going to look at the positives from it, I look at how they played defense. They held them under 30% shooting. They only did that once all of last season. And I think this could be a really good defensive team.
And I guess the other question, too, is we know what to expect from RJ and Caleb. We know what we're going to get from Armando Bacot, night in, night out. This Pete Nance is the kind of the unknown here. And some people, I know Armando kind of stepped up for Pete. Saying, hey, look, man, he just got here. Everybody's a little bit nervous, those kind of things. How do you see that role? Because everybody wants another Brady Manick because he's so important to how they. And he's not Brady. So who is Pete Nance? What is his role in the squad?
He's very good, and I think part of the filling out process early season is going to be just where he fits his role in. Because I think the good thing about Pete Nance is he's not somebody who's come in like tried to selfishly insert himself into the lineup and demand the ball and things like that. He's just trying to literally find his way into the flow of everything so that, basically everybody eats. I think he could be a little bit more assertive than he was last night. But that's all part of the process, just kind of learning when he'll have those opportunities to look for his own shot and really be aggressive with it and look to when he needs to compliment. And a big thing from last night, though, was when Armando got 4 fouls and went out, Pete fits fine playing the 5. And, they really don't they're not going to be at a point where they miss a step or are, afraid that they're going to get killed on the boards or anything like that because Pete Nance is a viable option inside, and he can rebound and he can defend and block shots and all that stuff. So they're much better off in terms of the front court if Bacot gets in foul trouble now.
CL Brown, News and Observer, covers the Tar Heels. I saw that bow tie last night. You're ready. You're ready for the start of the basketball season.
Ready for the start.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Appreciate you having me.